Hi, and welcome to the next episode of Creating Through Crisis. I'm Alicia Culp, and I'm a leadership and transitions coach. And during this extremely challenging time, I really was interested in highlighting how other leaders' creativity was being impacted or influenced by the COVID-19 crisis, by perhaps the social justice and the Black Lives Matter movement, and just the general condition of the political environment and what's happening right now in our world. I feel very fortunate that as I reached out to some of these leaders, everybody was really interested in getting their message out and sharing a little bit more about what they're passionate about. And our next guest is someone that I've known for many years. She's a dear friend of mine. And I always say she has shown such creativity in so many different aspects of her life, whether it was how she started a local chapter of an organization called Femfessionals, where I have met so many dear friends over the years. It's a networking group, no longer around, I don't think, but such a instrumental, great group that we were able to connect with and again form many friendships and do business together. So that's been positive. She took a health diagnosis that was very serious and some other life challenges and created also her own radio show and hosted it on the Rollins College WPRK station. She had her own business and now is the development director of the Hemophilia Foundation of Greater Florida. What she's going to talk to us about today is in her role as the voter registration chairperson of the League of Women Voters of Orange County. I thought this is the time that we need to and want to know more about this organization. And many of us might not really know that much about what they do to inform and empower our community. So with that, I look forward to sitting down and let's hearing a little bit more from Leah Nash. Hi, Leah. Thanks for being with us today. It's good to see your face.
Hey, Alicia, it's great to see you, and thank you for having me on your show. This is such an important topic, so thanks for highlighting it for everybody.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to get the word out and share a little bit more about the League of Women Voters. So first, if you could share a little bit about your background and career, and then what really got you directed and involved in the League of Women Voters.
Sure. Let's see here. I've been around Orlando since '97, working in communications and marketing and that kind of field for the majority of my career. Right now I'm a fundraiser for the Hemophilia Foundation of Greater Florida. And I like to do a lot of things in Orlando. I'm a huge Orlando advocate, but one of my true passions is working for the League of Women Voters Orange County. And when I say work, I mean volunteer. Our organization has no paid staff at all. So anything you see out there that's happening with the League Orange County, it's like totally 100% volunteers. My passion, yeah, it is. And it's a bunch of really smart people who are very, like, they're go-getters. Like it's like a second job. You know, volunteerism ebbs and flows, you know, so it's like, it's tough to keep up with this second job that I have that has no pay or vacation days.
Right. Something's got to be driving that.
And everybody loves it too. So the nice thing about the League is it is a non-partisan organization and it has several different advocacy groups associated with it. So if your passion is education, there's a group that you can join to help with those issues. If your passion is the environment, there's an advocacy group that you can join and help with those issues. And they, like, all the groups get like kind of down and dirty. They get like really into the weeds with every issue. My particular passion is voter services. I really wanted to make sure that everybody had their voice and knew about it and knew how to use it. So voting and educating people about voter rights and voter education was really, really important to me. So I just joined the League. It has a brand to it, like everybody kind of knows who the League is, but I had to learn about it to figure out where I belonged. And
what in general, kind of, if you could just sort of describe, how would you describe the League?
I would say it is a group of people who are very passionate, and they have a desire to make things better and all different facets. And when I say that, I mean the advocacy groups that are available. So like I said, environmental issues, educational issues, immigration issues, anything you could really think of. We're actually starting a women's rights subgroup or advocacy group. So almost any issue that you could think of, the league covers it. And
there's a lot of programming and content, right? There's a lot of, that's part of the education process, is helping other people know. I mean, I went out to the website and there's so many different activities that are going on, especially right now in a major election year.
Yeah, there's movies that are produced or books being written. We're in our 100-year anniversary with women's suffrage. There are, you know, we're constantly working on issues and working on getting laws passed. We are nonpartisan, but we do take a stand on issues. And then the part of it that I work on is called voter services. And voter services may be misinterpreted as only voter registration, but it's not. It's also voter education. So the group that I work on, or I chair, works on voter registration. We also work on candidate forums. We do Vote 411, which is our online voters guide. What else do we do? We have a speakers bureau. And there's other big stuff that I'm not recalling right now, but the point is it's voter registration plus voter education. And we've been heavily impacted this year by COVID.
I'm sure you have to like figure out and navigate new ways to get the word out. So how are you innovating? How are you going about that?
Absolutely. So what we decided to do was put together an elections task force. Our perspective was really the safety of the voters. So we really wanted to make sure that people knew that they could register to vote online. And when we say register, we also mean things like changing your party affiliation and your address, because if your address is incorrect, you won't be able to vote. And just to make a note of that right now, July 20th is the deadline to make those changes or to register to vote in the August primary. So it's very important. Thank you, Alicia, for giving us the opportunity, you know, to remind people about that important date. So the election task force has been created. Our leadership's really, really involved. Our president, Sandy Vidal, and Gloria Picar. And then across our membership, we are working with Orange County officials. We are sending out press releases. We are starting a social media campaign. We are working closely with the Orange County Public Schools so that we can reach young voters as well as their parents. We are working through,
That's exciting.
Yeah, we're working through the census not the organization, but the group that's out there trying to get people to do the census. We're working closely with them so that like we're doing a grassroots operation to churches and stuff like that, so that and other organizations like churches, so that like just the word is completely out there that we are promoting online voter registration and vote by mail.
Excellent. Great overview of all of that. And there's so many things. I knew it was a lot, but I didn't realize that the voter services really encompassed that much. So no wonder there's a lot to be done, and you're probably maybe looking for some good volunteers maybe along the way.
Absolutely. Now is the time. Like we would love for people to become members and then help out on an advocacy group. I'm going to advocate for voter services because we need that help. Previously, we did a lot of voter registration that was face-to-face, but because of COVID, our leadership has decided that, and I agree with them and our board of directors, that we shouldn't be out there because we don't want to put our members at risk. So that's why we decided to promote online voter registration and vote by mail.
Excellent, excellent. So for those people who maybe are just kind of learning a little bit now about the League of Women Voters, what do you think some of the misconceptions are about the organization, what they do, who makes up the group?
Yeah, I think there are probably a few misconceptions out there. One, I think people think that we're partisan when we're actually nonpartisan. So even if people who are involved are very politically active, when they are doing league work, we put our league hat on and it is nonpartisan. Other things that are included with that are if you are like campaigning for a certain person, you can't talk about the league. I mean, these are rules that we impose on ourselves. So It is nonpartisan, although I do think, like you said, there's like a misconception out there that we're nonpartisan, that we're partisan, excuse me. And maybe like I think people think that it's just a group of like older women and maybe even older white women, which there are a lot of retired women in the League of Women Voters, but it is a lot of different faces there as well. And we're trying to get more people, like younger people, people of color, just everybody, because the point is we have the right to stand up for what we believe in. Anybody can do that. It's important.
All the voices around the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes it richer, makes it more interesting, and people need to be heard. So I love that you did that outreach, just to try to get different generations again around the table. That's what it's all about. So I think there's so many people that I have spoken with that are looking for those ways. They're reading more, they're finding out more, and they also want to do something of substance to get involved. They want to take action, and they may just not know where that is. So I think this could be a great place if you're just kind of seeking. How could they find out about it? What's their best way to kind of make a move, find out more information?
I think your best bet, and I wanted to say, I agree with you 100%. When people come to us and join, we have a membership committee that calls each new member and they say, okay, what advocacy group do you want to join? So a lot of people come to Voter Services and people say, Leah, I want to make an impact. I want to make a difference. And that's why they've joined. So you like totally hit the nail right on the head. So I encourage anybody who has that desire or that feeling or like that need to make a change, the League may be the place for you. So visit our website, LWVOC.org, and then you can look at the advocacy groups, figure out which one you're interested in. We have information about online voter registration and vote by mail on there. So even if you don't become a member, you just want to share the information, guess what? You're making a difference. You are making a difference in someone's life maybe and the world we live in. So yeah.
Well, I hear people say too, if they go to vote, they're like, I don't know who all these people are. And it's sort of overwhelming. I mean, if you take it seriously, you're like, okay, how do I become an informed voter? What resources do I have that are nonpartisan, that I can just kind of get the information and then I can make an informed decision? So what are those tools? I mean, you've touched on some of the things, but can you go a little bit deeper in that so that everybody gets...
Did I feed you that question ahead of time? Because that's like exactly the project I'm working on. We have a
no.
So we have a resource called Vote 411. It's an online voter guide, and we actually have a hard copy as well. So before the elections, so right now we're working on the primary elections for Orange County. We go out, we look at the races. We upload all the candidates into an online form or an online, website. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the candidates and ask them the same exact questions and then ask them to submit the information on their own. So you can go to vote411.org or you could go to LWVOC.org and click there across the bottom. There should be a Vote 411 link, or you can hover over voting info and find it there as well. But soon, it's not there yet because we're still trying to get the answers from the candidates. But starting in mid-July or a little bit after mid-July, the Vote 411 interviews and questions should be up there for all of the races that are happening in the August primaries.
Okay.
And then in November, we'll have it as well.
And you just literally load it up there. There's no editing. There's no changing it around. And they have the choice, right? Whether they choose to submit an answer or they don't submit an answer.
That is exactly how it goes. Because it would be unfair of us to go through and edit someone's response or edit their grammar. It has to be done. As hard as it may be, even for us as we have people who are getting the information and we may want to say, oh, a comma goes there. We can't do it. So it is completely what the candidates have submitted on their own.
But I think it's such a great guide. I know that I use it at election time. I pull up my information and try to go through and become more informed. So
the amendments sometimes are very difficult. Last election, I think we had like 13 or 14 amendments, and amendment language can be very confusing because sometimes they're trying to put some, not that, they're trying to kind of get something in there that you don't really think it goes with the main component, the main like.
Absolutely. This last time had a number of them.
Right. Like, oh my gosh, if I vote for this, will this happen? So the voter's guide kind of helps with amendments in particular, and not in particular, but as well as the candidates.
Mm-hmm. And give sort of a clear, like, this is what it is saying, so you sort of know what you're voting for, right? It's not always so clear. So let's kind of switch gears for a minute and talk about just Orlando in general, because I know you're such a huge Orlando advocate. You're always doing fun things and going interesting places when you can, considering that COVID-19 is keeping most of us at home. How are you seeing that? First, how is it impacting your creativity? And then how are you seeing it impact or influence creativity throughout the community right now?
I'm going to hit the second question first.
Okay.
I've been very impressed with the creativity that has emerged during COVID and the way people are doing it. Like, it's like the universe said, okay, we're going to throw this like giant orange cone, not even just in front of you, like on top of you, like,
smash you down.
Like, it's not even like, so you're smashed down, but like these people in the arts community, and not necessarily the arts community either, have like emerged like a volcano, like lava coming up, and it's like nothing can stop them, and I'm so impressed. I know the Central Florida Vocal Arts community has really developed some fantastic virtual programming. I know there's a ton of camps out there that are helping kids be creative this summer. I mean, like, there are things that I wish I had the time to do, but I don't have the time to do, because everyone's like, oh, we have so much time with COVID. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's stuff going on.
Too many options.
There's like too many options. I don't know. I mean, there was one really cool, it was an art workshop that I wanted to attend through City Arts. I mean, there's
so many things with the museums, right? They're touching on little art history, or, promoting certain artists, and you can learn about that. Different museums that are doing virtual. I know the Fringe Festival, one of our favorites, right? They even had their programming that they did online, tough to take it.
And they let it be free, so it was like, they're giving away art. They're giving away their creativity. It's like, people are just being so generous with it, and it's like an amazing outpouring. So, and I don't even want to just say like professionals. I want to say like just the lay person. Like, I saw a lot of people just in my feed writing music, or like playing songs, or like writing poems, or like being, even being really funny. Like,
yes.
I was like, I didn't know that person was so funny. Like,
I know. Who knew? Yeah. It's an opportunity, isn't it? Like, for it's how you go about it. It doesn't mean that the dark side, the dark things that we're dealing with don't exist. Right. But it's like, how is that really sparking? How is that stirring your thoughts? And how are you reconnecting to your values, the things that are most important to you, I think, and then letting that flow out. Right. It's exciting.
And then not being scared. That's the other part of it. People don't seem as scared to let that creativity out. It's like, oh my gosh, it's just beautiful and amazing to see it flow so easily. Mm-hmm. And then on the other side of it, people are embracing it. So like, you post a song that you wrote. Well, all of a sudden you get like 100 likes. It's like, oh my gosh, 100 people watched and they loved it.
Yeah. That's a great feeling. How about for you personally then? We kind of talked a little bit about in general, but is this a time you've done a lot of things over, and it's sometimes okay to take a break, but I'm wondering.
I think that kind of happened to me. It's like I went internal, and I felt a little guilty, because I was like, how come like my creative juices aren't like exploding the way everybody else's are? But I was doing things like, I had just recently moved into a condo, so I was doing things that were creative, that were like decorating my place, making it my home, which is like really important to me.
Nesting.
Nesting. Or at work, I'm a fundraiser, and I rely on events to raise money for the bleeding disorders community. How can I change or like make that shift? So I found creativity through work and like developing campaigns and keeping in touch with our community through virtually and things like that.
A lot more education, probably online education, and maybe opportunities. A lot of, programs were done in person. So all of a sudden you have to figure out how to retrofit and make it happen and make it engaging and get people involved and in those programs, right?
Yeah. So I would say I didn't have like a very specific like outpouring of creativity, but there were these spurts, and sometimes it was organization, or sometimes it was being able to put up, some artwork that I love, or whatever it is, or cooking. Like I found some joy in cooking recently that I had not before. I will make a confession. Before COVID, my refrigerator was like literally empty. I was like a strange little bachelorette thing that only ate food from restaurants. Like, like now I have a whole refrigerator.
Not food staples. You didn't have.
But now there's a whole refrigerator full of food, which
that's cool. It's like, oh yeah, these are fresh vegetables in my own refrigerator.
I don't have to pay $20 for a salad. That's right.
I can chop these things. I remember how. Go figure. That's great. Well, I know, on a serious note, I know you have a serious health condition that you were diagnosed with several years ago, and just trying to make the most of that, but also protect yourself right now. How are you doing? And, just kind of speaking to that, if you don't mind.
It's tough out there because COVID is there's not a whole lot known about it. It seems to be so contagious. And I have an autoimmune disease called myasthenia gravis, where I'm on several immunosuppressants. So like to me, like going outside is like, I feel like I'm getting attacked a little bit, and I get really scared. Like, and nobody's actually attacking me. I just get scared. So that might be a little bit of why, creatively, I really went internal, but
makes sense.
There's a lot of people out there who are dealing with a lot of like chronic illnesses, immune suppression. And I just think that we have to be understanding, because you don't know. Like what I have is what is considered an invisible disease, unless I'm having like a hard time or just
a flare up of some kind, right? Yeah.
You really can't tell I have a disease. So we don't know what everyone's going through.
We don't know, right? I think I was just talking with someone earlier today. I just keep running that quote. I think it's Stephen Covey, but I'm not sure. That, seek first to understand and then be understood. It's like, if you can kind of go with that, of just kind of going, okay, I'm going to give benefit of the doubt and try to know that everybody's going through their own little mini hurricane or whatever right now. Yeah. Just kind of being a little bit gentle whenever we can, especially with ourselves. So.
Yeah. And like, we're all going through this other crap to get
we have our little mini, and then we have the
right, like everybody's going through all this stuff, which creates a ton of anxiety in several different ways. And like, we have so many like social injustice issues going on, we have public health issues going on. I mean, like there's environmental issues going on. Like, you're just like, what's happening?
Can't catch your breath. It's like, okay, I need to hit pause. I heard somebody else say, okay, pause is the word for the summer. Even though in some ways maybe you can't put your life on pause, but just kind of mentally, just, okay, I'm going to just pause for a little bit and try to catch my breath.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I'll probably steal that.
Yeah, hit pause for the summer. So tell me, well, maybe that'll be your new motto or your new mantra, but what's kind of your intention that's helping motivate you and just keep you centered during this time? Or maybe it's something with the league that you all use that rallies you.
I think a peace of heart is always something that I'm like looking for. Peace of heart, peace of mind. So when a lot of times if I'm doing yoga, they say when you practice, have an intention. A lot of times peace of heart, peace of mind is at the top of my head.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
Alias Leah Love, so
I love that.
I do believe in love. And I guess maybe just authenticity. I'm trying to live authentically
Mhm.
more than
This is
ever.
a good time to do it. It's like kind of
Yeah.
when everything else is stripped away, what are you left with? It's like who
Yeah.
you are, your
Yeah.
heart, your mind, those connections. Those are the things that are most important. Leah, thank you. Thank you for all the information you shared. This was great. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Alicia, and I love what you're doing and just promoting creativity in any way that we can. And it's tough out there, but we're doing it. And
Shining a light. Shining a light.
yeah,
Thank you.
we get virtual kisses. We can't.
That's right. Virtual hugs. That's right. Excellent. Leah, thank you for your commitment to the community and for sharing information about the League of Women Voters. If you are interested in learning more and perhaps getting involved, go ahead and check out their website at lwvoc.org. And remember that July 20th is the deadline to register to vote or to change your registration. So keep that in mind and get involved. And if you're going through a period of transition and are interested in learning more ways to how to activate your strengths, play to your creativity, and definitely keep calm, cool, and collected during this time, please reach out and let's have a conversation. Thanks and be well.